Tim and Ron here with A Perfectly Imperfect Marriage. And today we're going to dive into a topic that everybody loves. Doing the hard things. I don't wanna.
Do you remember that cartoon Love Is?
Oh, yeah.
So, depending on your age.
Yeah, this is a Sunday comic strip kind of thing.
Yeah, but they're fun. And when we started dating, we actually would cut them out of the paper all the time.
We did.
But today's not kind of the same thing. It's going to be Life Is.
Yes.
Hard.
Life is, yeah.
Yeah. It's not all the sunshine and date nights. It's just full of many, many hard things.
You mean it's not like roses and unicorns and
rainbows,
sprinkles?
Yeah, no. No,
Man.
this one's going to be about all the hard things and how the stubborn silences after arguments and mismatched moods. Really happy, not so much. Really happy, not so much. The always fun. So where do you want to go to dinner tonight, babe?
I don't know. Where do you want to go?
What are you feeling?
I'm not really feeling much anything. What about you?
Tacos?
I like tacos, but it was really maybe pizza?
That could quite possibly lead us into needing our own coaching because I think we've all been there over and over again.
Yeah.
God didn't design marriage to be easy.
No.
And that is really our big talk today. He designed it to be challenging, to help us learn and grow together.
Strengthen one another, be there for each other.
Yes.
Nothing in life is easy. I mean, there are easy days, but, nothing in life is easy.
No.
And, we've probably all heard the adage, I know I certainly have more than once, that if it's easy, it's not worth having.
That's a tough one to swallow sometimes because I think our nature is to want things to be easy, to not have to struggle all the time, especially if it's been going good for a while.
We all have those. Well, yeah, I mean, when things have been good, and like status quo is bad. When things are good, there's no growth because you're not challenged. And then, the path of least resistance, electricity, for example, but the path of least resistance, if that's the path you're choosing to walk all the time, are you growing emotionally? Are you growing spiritually? If you're in a relationship, is your relationship strengthening?
And part of God's design for marriage is to be holy. And holiness is formed in the hard places, kind of like a diamond. Lots of pressure, but think of how amazing it looks when it comes out.
Yep.
And we are, like it or not, on display when we go out into public as a couple.
Yes.
We are being looked at by young couples, couples who've been together for years and who are walking through a hard time, couples who are older and now they're in retirement and they're not really sure if they should even be together anymore because the whole reason they were together was the kids. We've heard that one before. So part of our marriage is, really the big part, is to be holy.
Which, that holy means separate. You're different than everybody else. So you need to do things differently, and, like Samantha just talked a little bit about empty nester and how your identity was so wrapped up in your kids that when your kids are gone, it's like your identity left. But that's an identity issue.
Which is funny because that was our last talk. Our last talk was identity, which is his specialty.
Anyway.
It is your passion.
Identity, values.
Yes.
They're so instrumental in the health and well-being of the individual and the marriage.
And it is a hard thing.
Yes. Because
you go through seasons where I went through one when I had a job for 13 years and that company closed down. And I didn't realize how wrapped up I was in the girl that worked here. I'm not saying their name. I will never say their name. But At that place, I loved my job, or so I thought. I really didn't in hindsight. The last 5 years were not very good, but my identity was wrapped up in the job.
Definitely.
And it was figuring out who was I after I left there, because I was not just the girl that worked at that place. I'm not just a mom. I'm not just a daughter. I'm not just a wife.
Mm-hmm.
So it is hard when you go through those seasons and you're trying to identify your identity. You like that, right?
That was pretty good.
So let's go into a little bit of the myth versus reality of marriage, which is growing up thinking that marriage is just supposed to be easy because you're in love.
Love fixes everything.
Just,
love,
yes,
we got this.
But love, hashtag. No, don't do that. Just kidding.
Marriage is never like the dating season,
yes,
where you dote on one another and you are the little things. If you've been married for any period of time, the things that you once thought were cute about your spouse now drive you nuts.
The water bottles? Yes, I leave water bottles all
everywhere.
But when you're thirsty and you live in Florida, you need to stay hydrated. So yes, we have our things.
Yeah, we do.
And that myth, again, it's going back to, but we love each other, so it'll just work out. Yeah. We'll get through it. But that's a feeling that you're falling into. It's not the choice you're making to fight for it.
Yeah.
And there's a difference there.
Love is an action word. Like, it's not a noun, it's not passive. It's an action word, and you need to be walking in it in order to make it work. And I think we touched on this pretty recently, but sacrifice and service, they're wrapped up in love. And if you're in this for yourself, the health of your marriage will suffer.
Yeah. The world tells us that love is all feels. It makes you feel good. It makes you be in the moment. That is just all sunshine, rainbows, and butterflies.
Another Hallmark
yes.
Christmas movie.
Yes. And cards, because I love cards.
The
but they are all about feelings.
Yes.
Versus real love is work.
Yeah.
You have to put in the time, you have to put in the work, and you have to put yourself second in a lot of scenarios. And this is not saying that you're a doormat and you're to be walked all over. If you're being treated wrong, like if there's abuse, be it physical or verbal, that's different. That is not what we're talking about, and you should seek help for that.
Absolutely.
That is not something that you should ever accept. But in the general consensus of relationships, marriages, we tend to want things to be our way, and we want it to feel good, and we want it to always just be happy. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
The difference there.
Avoiding the hard.
Yes. You need to, and the work, you got to choose the patience. Choose patience when you want to react. You want to give grace when you want to blame. And you want to give forgiveness when pride wants to win.
Yes.
I'm right. Always.
Except when I'm right.
That is an example right there. And we do get caught in that. We try to trump, like if I could speak a little louder, he'll understand my point more and he'll come to my side. It doesn't work that way.
Nope.
Not in the least bit. So that is where you got to put some work in. And that's right when God will show up. Right in the middle of those moments.
You begin to be humble.
Was it the last video where we were talking about values and identity, where we're talking about praying together and stopping in the middle of an argument
to pray together
and to pray about it because you both think you're right? That's the perfect time to say one of you's got to come forward and let's throw that pride back.
Yeah, talk about an exercise in humility.
Yes,
right there.
And say, let's pray. Let's let God be our referee here because he knows way better than us. And let's pray about this.
And often, you're not going to get a direct answer, like immediately, who's right, who's wrong, what path to take. But what happens is when you take that moment to pray together, you begin to diffuse the situation. And, it's like that 15-minute break in the middle of a fight where you both go to your own corners and then come back to try to reconcile. But you're doing this in a more active manner so that you can begin to understand that, you know what, your spouse isn't the enemy. The
Ever.
enemy is whispering in both of your ears, trying to get you to fight. And the sooner that you can take that breath and reconcile and take the action steps, taking a moment to pray in the middle of a fight helps to facilitate all of that.
You're inviting God into your imperfect moment.
Well done.
Hence the name of our A Perfectly Imperfect Marriage, because there's no such thing as perfect. You're two imperfect people just trying to get through the day to day and stay a team.
Yeah. Shoulder to shoulder.
Yep. So what are some of those hard things? Apologizing first. Again, humility.
Never.
Praying together after an argument. We've touched on that one in great detail, which is something that we are very much, that's a big thing for us.
Yeah.
We know, I'm not going to say believe, we know that prayer works in all regards. Whether you're praying for your marriage, you're praying for your children, your family members who may not be walking with Christ, prayer works in all scenarios. So
now, just as a caveat though, like over time, a lot of years, I've realized that God's timeline and my timeline
never
don't line up. So I'm praying for something that I want immediate resolution for. Yeah, that immediate may not happen. There's always resolution, but it may not be as quickly as I would like.
And it doesn't always come wrapped up in a pretty box and a bow exactly how you thought it was going to come.
Yeah, sometimes it looks different than what you think it's going to look like.
It ends up having the same resolution, but it may not be exactly how you envisioned it in your mind. But prayer works.
Absolutely.
Always.
Yeah.
Choosing to see your hubby or wife through God's eyes when you're really frustrated with them. Choose to see how God sees. Like if I'm annoyed at something that's going on with us, I need to step back and say, well, how is God looking at him in this? God is looking at him with forgiveness, with grace, with love, with understanding. And I'm over here like, I'm right and I want him to listen to me. But God's way is way better.
Yeah.
So choose to look at your spouse through God's eyes.
And, wrap your head around this one for a second. Like we are children of God. You are a child of the Most High God, which means that Samantha's Heavenly Father is God. So, like, every time I dishonor or disrespect my wife, you got to figure he's a little pissed off about that, right? Like,
yeah.
So, by seeing the things the way that Samantha just explained, I need to show Samantha grace. I need to show Samantha forgiveness. I need to honor our vows and our marriage the way that God has intended.
100%, which isn't always easy.
Oh, no. Again, this is doing the hard. It's not always easy.
And doing the hard is an intentional step. So your key word in all of this has to start with intention. Sometimes that hard thing is a really simple 4-letter word, but it's the hardest thing you can do in that moment. And that is to just simply be kind, to just be nice when you want to lash out because your feelings are hurt or your pride is hurt. And you want that other person, what's that saying? Hurt people hurt people. You want them to feel it because you think that, I don't even know if it's intentional sometimes that you think they intentionally hurt you.
Misery loves company.
Yeah.
So when you're miserable, you just lash out at people.
Yep. And that comes when you're tired, when you're overwhelmed with something that could have happened during the day. Like I could come home and something could have happened that I have no idea about. And you're just not in a good mood. And maybe whatever I walk in the door and do, like turn the air conditioner down, is the last straw and something comes out less than nice. I need to react with kindness because I don't know what happened. Or when life's just trying to strangle the love right out of you.
Yeah. There are definitely hard seasons that we all walk through, whether it's, raising kids, loss of a job,
Aging
every
parents.
appliance in the house just broke.
Oh my gosh.
And
Let's just, for like the last 4 weeks, it was 5 weeks. We had one thing every week in our house break. When our air fryer went, and that's a little thing.
It is.
I think I went crazy for about 30 seconds.
Oh no, a little longer.
Yeah, that was, yeah. But it's life. It happens. And my question, and do you remember what I asked you? Like, I think my question to you was, God doesn't make these things happen. And I don't think the devil is trying to break all of our appliances in our house. So like, how do we look at this? It's just life.
Yeah.
It's just life happening.
Stuff breaks sometimes.
Yeah. Nobody's out to get us, because I've heard people say, Satan's out to get me. No, your car didn't break down. Satan wasn't in your engine jacking things up. It's just life. Yeah. But you have a teammate who's walking through it with you.
Yep.
I had a moment there. I don't know if you saw it. I love him. So
love you too, babes.
I know I got a little off track there with my emotion. But we've all had these days, as we've just shared, where everything feels heavy and you just want to shut down for a minute. Mm-hmm. You just want to retreat under a rock or into a quiet, dark corner for a moment and ignore life.
Turn the world off.
But that's where you just got to remember, this is the same team.
Mm-hmm.
We're not against each other. We're stronger together. You'll hear us say that a lot. Mm-hmm. I think that at the turning point in our marriage, after we had walked through some really rough seasons and thought about throwing the towel in for a brief moment, after we got through that season is when it clicked and we realized that we were stronger together, shoulder to shoulder, than walking away or being nose to nose. And that's just become like our little life phrase to each other. Mm-hmm. And actually, I think we use that quite often when we're annoyed at each other.
We do.
We'll say, we're stronger together, just to remind ourselves that Satan loses every time. I say Jesus wins all the time. But for this particular moment, I just want to really say Satan loses every time. He never has the winning hand, ever. So don't ever let anybody lie to you. And sometimes that's yourself in your own head. Satan always loses, period. End of that conversation. So I have a verse. James 1:2-4. Consider it pure joy when you face trials of many kinds, because the tests of your faith produce perseverance. And marriage is one of the greatest places that God tests and grows that perseverance. Mm-hmm. He does it in other areas too, but marriage is one of the biggest ones.
Yeah. And, growth often happens in the trial. It doesn't mm-hmm. happen in the easy days. Metals are forged in the fire. Mm-hmm. That's where the impurities come out and where the metal becomes stronger. It's in the fires of life, the trials and tribulations that we go to together, where our marriage strengthens.
100%. We don't like them, though.
No, most of the
Nobody wants to walk into the fire. But why is it worth it? That's the question we're gonna jump over to now. Why is it worth walking through these fires? Why is it worth being crushed within the rock to become the beautiful diamond that shines for other people to see? What would you say?
Oh, I'm waiting to hear your answer.
Well, we've walked through a lot of these seasons.
We have.
And we know there will be more.
Yes.
So we're already prepared with the knowing that we already know some of our future. We're going to have more struggles. We're going to have more hard times.
Yeah.
I think our pastor often, when he's going through one of his sermons like this, he's like, I know I'm giving you all the warm fuzzies right now, but we're still alive.
Yeah.
That's why it's worth it. We know. Go ahead. We know.
We do know. So, and you've heard me say this before, and I think I picked this up at basic training which was like a lifetime ago. But embrace the suck. You know,
I love when you say that.
Yeah, well, it resonates with me. But embrace the suck, because the positive, what you're looking for, what you're chasing, is on the other side of the suck. So you need to go through the suck to get to where you're trying to go. And through the suck, you strengthen yourself, you refine yourself, you learn about yourself, you begin to understand that you're stronger than you thought. And the same thing happens when we're going through things together. We're stronger than we thought. We're a stronger team than we thought we were. 2017, we almost got divorced. Things were rough. We are so much better off now than we were then, but we had to go through that crappy season to get to where we are now.
Yeah, we used to flip off into a fight on nothing. Like, it would take nothing for us to be arguing and yelling at each other and slamming doors and slamming stuff. That was probably me most of the time.
We were just looking for reasons to be offended.
It was now, I mean, we may have a little bicker here and there, but it's over pretty quick.
Yeah.
And we also know when we both need to just sit in silence from each other instead of chasing each other around. We got to talk about this right now and figure it out. We've come a long way, but it was intentional.
Yeah.
And we're still intentionally, we may be coaches for marriages, but we're still growing in our own marriage. I firmly believe, and I just said this to somebody, actually, I said it last week to somebody, and I said it this morning to somebody, that if you think you don't need to learn anything else, you're failing. Because you're never done learning. Until you're standing before Jesus at the gates to heaven, your job is to continue to keep learning and growing. So the only way your marriage is going to be the sunshine, rainbows, and butterflies that you want it to be is when you put the work in. Because then there are definitely still those moments where you look at each other and you think, I won the lotto. God gave me exactly who I needed and wanted. So that's why it's worth it. I think that was the question that started down this rabbit hole.
It may have been.
But every time we choose to stay, we choose to pray, and we choose to work through it, is how you get to the marriage that you want. It's how you get to the holy. It's how you get to showing younger couples or any couple that's struggling what a good marriage is, and give them hope and give them a future that they're looking for, that they can have, that you can have. If you don't know that in this moment, you can also have it.
Yeah, if you're in a season where you feel stuck, a couple things. Like, you're not in this alone. There is a way out. You guys can absolutely heal your marriage, strengthen your marriage. We're here to help. Finding a solid support group or support network really does make a difference. But I wasn't planning on giving a plug right here, but I'm going to.
Plug it in.
But below this video is a link to our website. You can definitely schedule a call. But you're not in this alone. There is, you guys, the fact that you're even watching this, speaks volumes. And your marriage can heal, can strengthen, can get better.
100%. And we want to walk alongside you. We know the work that it takes, and we firmly believe that marriages need to be saved. That we want people to be stronger together, to be there for their children, to set a foundation for future generations. What your kids are watching is what they'll become in their marriages. What they become is what their kids become, and so on and so forth. When you start building that foundation to show them what a good, strong marriage is, you're setting a foundation for future generations in your family to have what God wants for marriage. So doing the hard things, it is putting the work in to build trust, friendship, and the realist love. And I had to write these 4 down, so I made sure that I got all 4 of them in there, because there's not just love, period. Love is love. It sounds really nice, but there's different types of love. All love is not the same. Agape love. I love my husband more than anything in this world and would lay down and die for him, but it is not agape love. It's not possible for a human to love another human the way God loves us, because we have all the human ickiness inside us, all of the feels, the good and the bad. The icky is the bad. So agape, which is godly love. Philia, which is bro. I love you, bro. Brotherly love. Bro comes from my son. He's ruined me for that word, bruh. Eros, which is romantic love, which is the bow chicka wow wow. That was, you were supposed to say that. And then philia, which is sacrificial love. And we will down the road dive into these 4 types of love and how they do still play into marriage. Absolutely. All 4 of them in different ways, but then also surrounding marriage. There is something to the different types of love that you need to understand in your marriage also.
What you got going on there?
I was trying to think of how to transition into telling them to just push through, because that's where we're at. They need to push through where they're at in their, if they're having troubles this season, whether it's really deep or not, you got to push through.
But you don't have to do it alone. Pushing through sounds great. Not always realistic, because you don't know what to do. If you keep doing the same things over and over again and expecting a different result, I'm pretty sure that's the definition of insanity. So if you want to change, you have to change.
Yeah.
And it's not just like a couple small behavior patterns. I mean, we're talking transformation. And we can absolutely help you get there. But, reading a couple books and going to a seminar, likely not going to get you there. So the opportunity for transformation is real and available.
And when you push through the hard things, you will find a deeper sense of peace in you personally, in your relationship. You'll be surrounded by peace. When people come to our house, they talk about the peace in our home. That's built through our marriage. That's through us.
It's intentional.
Yes. Life doesn't get easier. Don't get me wrong. Life doesn't get easier, but God is working through us now, because we're working to grow individually, to grow as a couple, and God is able to keep working through us. And that's the beauty of God's design for marriage. So if you're watching this and your marriage feels heavy, and let's be real, we all have those moments, you're not alone. Every couple goes through a tough season, and those seasons don't mean that your marriage is broken. They just mean that your marriage is being built. It's the house that never stops growing, starting at the foundation and working its way up. God's not done with your story. He's shaping your story and designing each chapter of your story. He's teaching you to love like he loves. So we want you to lean in and pray even when it's awkward. We want you to talk even when it's uncomfortable. And we want you to do it over and over and over again.
The more you do it, the less weird it feels.
Yes. The hard things don't destroy love. They define love. And in 1 Corinthians, they say love endures all things. And that word endure, that's the one that most people don't want to really dig into. But it's the foundation of every marriage, is the endurance. So we have come to the conclusion of this very long.
Fancy that now.
This one was a bit longer, because hard things you really got to take some time with, because it's every day.
And again, like, this is a topic that we could talk for hours on.
Yeah.
So, and realistically, I'm sure we'll end up making a few more videos on this topic. breaking open some of the specific generalizations that we discussed here.
Yeah, because this was like the, what do you say, the
10,000-foot overview.
Overview. Yeah, I was looking up so you knew what I was going with there.
See that?
And as I like to do at the end of every one of our videos, it's
challenge time.
Challenge time, because we believe in accountability.
Yes.
And follow through. So we give you some direct challenges that will help you walk it out.
Do this.
Don't do that.
Whatever that is.
So this week, ideally, after you watch this video, you and your spouse will have this quick conversation. Pick one hard thing. Maybe it's apologizing for something. Maybe it's, well, we say pray together all the time, but maybe this is your first time. Maybe you're starting. This is something you have not done in the past. You could pick that, praying together. How about together time, to sit down and talk about, like, how can I love you better? Or
a check-in.
Yeah, the check-in time.
You know, where you're evaluating your spouse's emotional health, spiritual health. Where are they at? How can you better serve them? You know, so we're not talking about like who's picking up the kids from soccer
going to
practice tomorrow
dinner.
night.
Yeah, this is not a date night thing. This is intentional growth in your relationship. Although date nights are good too. We definitely encourage date nights.
Absolutely.
Whatever it is, do it intentionally this week. So again, pick one thing that's a hard thing, and you're going to do it intentionally this week. So
and let us know what it is in the comments below.
Yes. Write it down, pray over it, and watch how God's going to meet you there and help you grow. I think that's it. For now.
We'll cover it in the next one.
All right, guys. We'll see you later. Bye.